This is section 25.1, and I always feel like this is one of the favorite sections for my seated students because they're like, hey, we know about mean, median, and mode. This first screen is just kind of an overview, and I'm going to talk about each one of them in detail on the future slides. So you don't have to worry about this first slide. You can kind of look at it if you want to. Okay, so mean is the same thing as an average. And when you're finding an average, you have to total up all your numbers, right? So the sum of the values, and then you divide it by the number of values. And even if there's a zero in that list, you would count it as one of your number of values, but of course it doesn't add anything to your total. So basically you're finding the sum of the values or the total of the values, and that means you're going to add them all together. Now, I don't usually require students to necessarily show me this whole thing, but for this first problem I will, and so I'm just going to write them out and add them all together. What I do like to see is your total and what you're dividing by. So you show me that you have added them together by giving me a total. You can maybe even label it in some way. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm dividing by 8. When you total these up, you're going to get 619, and we're going to divide that by 8, and that gives us 77.375. Now in this case, because you had whole numbers in the first place, we are just going to round that. Remember that wavy equal sign means approximately. And so our mean or the average of these numbers, the test scores would be 77. All right, so that's mean. And then median. So there's quite a bit to read. You have to arrange your values from low to high or from high to low. It doesn't really matter which one you do. I think it probably makes more sense to most people to go from low to high. If the number of data values in the list is odd, then the median is the middle number. And you can think about median as a reminder, the median between the lanes and a highway, right? That's in the middle. So we're looking for the middle number, basically, the median. If you have an even set of data, then there's not a single number in the middle, right? So you have to take the two numbers in the middle, add them together and find their average. So you would add them and divide by 2. Sometimes it's real easy to figure that out depending on the numbers that you're working with, but you know, it just depends on what they are. So we are first going to put this list in order. Okay, so let's do that just right below. And a technique sometimes is you just list these side by side basically. So I'm going to cross them off as I go, and I'm going from least to greatest. So the next one then is 70, and then we have 77, and then 78, 84, and 84 again, and then 97. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I always double check mine by counting. Did I put all the numbers in my list? So now we have them in order, right? From least to greatest. And so really the middle of these numbers is right here, right? We split them 4 and 4. So that means the two numbers on either side of my line are the ones that I have to find the average of. Now, I think you can probably figure this out pretty easy. We do 77 plus 78 divided by 2, but I think you can look at it and see, excuse me, it's right in the middle. Sorry, at 77.5, all right? If you add the numbers together, I don't even know what that is. Let's see, 140, 155. So if you add those, you get 155, and then divide by 2, which is 77.5, right? So 77.5. 0.5. Now in this we are going to keep it to a decimal because that was right in the middle and it wouldn't make sense without the decimal, right? So this is our median. So next is finding the mode. So the mode is the value that occurs most often, mode and most. That's sometimes just a little way to help you remember, because it's not that any of these are difficult, but if it asks you for the mode and you can't remember which one is the mode, then that's a problem. So that can be one of those things where you just have to make sure you know which one's which, right? What do I do with mean? How do I find median? What is the mode? Okay, so it says find the mode of the test scores, and we're looking for any numbers that repeat, and we can see that we've got 65, and we also have 84. Now, they're both there 2 times, so that means we have 2 modes. If one of them had been there 3 times, then we would only have 1 mode. So it's the ones that occur most often, but if they match, right, they both occur 2 times, then they're both part of our mode. Now, most of the time we only have, you know, maybe 2 or 3. We could possibly have 3 modes. We can also have no mode. So if none of your numbers repeat, you would have no mode. And you would just say that, right? There's no mode for this set of data. Okay, the most often, right? That's how we're going to find mode. Now this next question, I didn't take it out. This is one that I do in my seated class where I have everyone write their height on the board and we calculate mean, median, and mode. So of course we can't really do that with you guys, but I just want to show you that is another example where we just take some real life data and we calculate it. So I don't know the answers before we do this. It depends on how many people are in the classroom. And the last time I did this, I don't know, it looks like there are about 15, 16 people that we had on that list. Okay. So some more examples. On this one it says a real estate office sold 8 homes during a 2-week period. Find the mean, median, and mode for the following prices. Okay, so we're going to find a total, right? We're going to add these all up. I'm going to be a little bit lazy here and just say, okay, so we're going to add. We're going to add this and this and this, and we're going to get a total. Okay, so the sum of all of these is 1,976,000. Right? And we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We had 8 again. I should change my examples so we have a different number. Right? So we're dividing by 8. So that means I have a mean of 247,000. All right, so there's the mean. And then to find the median, we have to put these in order. And so sometimes I just write these out in order and put the plus signs between them that way. So we have 89,000 and then 101,000. And you guys, you don't have to worry about putting your dollar signs and stuff when you're trying to calculate something. It's okay without them for the calculation purposes because it's messy enough as it is. I guess I should put the comma. 125,000. Let's see, and then we have 165,000. And then we have 175,000 2 times. It's actually helpful when you have these in order to find, whoops, I didn't cross that one out, to find your mode, because then you have the ones that are just alike side by side. So this one is over $1 million. Okay, so once again, we are at 8, all right? And that means we're going to add those together. Now I'm looking at this saying, oh, it's 145,000 because I know that that's going to be right in the middle. But you may not look at it and say that. So let's add those together, 125,000 plus 165,000. And then we're going to divide that by 2. Okay, and so if you add those together, you're going to get 290,000 and divide that by 2, so it's 145,000. So this is our median, 145,000. Okay, and then last would be our mode, and you can see that right here. So that is the mode, and it's 175,000. All right. So there's the mean, there's the median, there's a mode. Now, if you look at the data, you can see this big old number out at the end, 1,036,000. We kind of call that something like an outlier because it's so far away from the rest of our data. Like it's way beyond the $175,000 even, because it's over $1 million. And so it says, which indicator, mean, median, or mode best represents the average selling price? And so if you just look at the other numbers, right, the average selling price, we kind of ignore the 1 million because it's just so far out there. It seems like we should leave it out. You can see it affected the mean a lot because it made it 247,000. And so the best indicator, I think, in this case would be the 145,000, or you could even say the 175,000 if you wanted to, but definitely the mean is way above because the mean is above all of the values except for the 1 million. So when it's somewhere within the middle of them, that's a better indicator for that particular data. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video because the next part of this is called weighted mean, and that's just where it gets a little more complicated, but I'll talk to you about that on the next video.